Hello and welcome to the studio. I'm Georgia Stock and I'm here with WVTM's 13 News, Ms. Brittany Decker. I'm so blessed that you are in here today because I wanted to ask you just a couple questions because I really do find what you do in the news world is very, very important and it's very, very cool. So the first question I have for you is that I heard that you, and I know that you are from New England, and I know that's very, very different from being here in Alabama. So how has the Southern culture really taken an impact on you being from the New England, being New England and taking on new Southern ways?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for having me. Really appreciate you having me back here. Love to be with you all, of course. Yeah, it's different. I think anytime you change your environment and you move somewhere different, it's always going to be different, right? You meet new people. I didn't know one person when I moved down here. And yeah, so as far as work goes and coverage goes, my day-to-day, obviously, we deal with a lot more severe weather here in Alabama. So
especially
that was
with the hurricane too. Hurricane that just came.
Exactly, hurricanes, tornadoes, a bunch of different things. So I love the weather. That's something that really interests me. So that was a change up and something that was something I really feel like you make an impact when people watch the news. People care about the weather, especially down here in a state where it really matters.
Yeah.
It can be a life or death situation. But other than that, I think every person has a story, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
People are more alike than different.
Yeah.
And I think that it's still the same mission every day, right? To tell people's stories. So overall,
I think that's really cool
like
because one thing that you told me whenever we were doing our pre-interview is that you really get to hear that person's story, and you really get to compare and contrast other people's different stories, but you also find the similarities that you can relate to as well, which I think is really, really cool, very, very cool aspect of your job. So another thing that we talked about as well is I know you did pageants, and personally for me, I'm not a pageant girl, but how did being in pageants really impact you to be able to mature and be more up to date in the news with everything that was going on?
Sure. I guess when people identify me as a pageant girl too, I don't really fit the mold, I guess, but it certainly helped. I mean, I was part of the Miss America organization for so
incredible.
long. It was, and I think it was always my goal to compete at Miss America. So I held the title of Miss Connecticut a long time ago. But what it did, the Miss America organization is based on creating consistency with overall lifestyle, living a healthy lifestyle. Scholarship, I did it for scholarship money for school, which helped me to get my degrees to be where I am. Service always involved very community oriented, which was a direct translation to what I'm doing now, and just building the confidence over time to have private interviews and speak in front of people on an intimate level where they're asking you tough questions and rapid fire questions, but also to speak in front of large audiences, and also just to be up to date and staying up to date with my current events and things that are going on in the world. So it really, literally everything that I needed to be part of the Miss America organization directly translated to what I'm doing now. So I think for that, it was a great benefit.
I think that's really cool. I really like how that specific program, the Miss America program, really helps influence multiple different teenage girls like me and girls like you when you were my age,
for sure,
to be up to date and to be giving back to the community, which I think is very, very important, especially to the community. But another question that I had for you is, I know that your sleep schedule is probably very crazy, especially with the hours that you have to work. So how do you manage to have a healthy sleep schedule with waking up with these crazy hours and stuff like that?
Yeah, for a while it was tough. I'm really realizing the importance of sleep and taking care of your body so it can take care of you. But it was hard for a while doing the morning shift. And in news, you really have to be adaptable to everything, right?
You can
work. I've worked every shift in the book. I worked the night shifts till 11 something at night. But I also for many years, for almost 6 or 7 years, I worked the morning show. So I'd have to get up, about 1:30 in the morning. I'd get in about 2:30, 3 o'clock. The show starts at 4. You still want to be able to look over your scripts, and you have to be ready to go on TV with hair and makeup and everything. So balancing that with trying to live a normal life and meet a friend for dinner or have time for family. So it's difficult, but I think I'm very blessed now. In the news world, I have a pretty normal schedule, so I'm doing the evening shows right now.
That's
so
really good.
It makes it easier, but you gotta
you just got to be ready for everything. You got to be ready for whatever happens.
Right. I'm still a morning person though.
Yeah.
I still wake up pretty early.
Hey, that's probably a lot of coffee if I'm going to be honest. But another question that I had for you was, how does your family feel about your work schedule, and how did they adapt to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my family, I don't have a family of my own here, but my family is back in Connecticut. So I don't see them on a regular basis, unfortunately, anyway. But that's one thing that you have to adapt with. And a lot of people that go into the news business, you have to be sometimes willing to move to different places to maybe kickstart your career or
pursue it,
right, and start in maybe a smaller news market to build, you know, your experience to go somewhere else where you ultimately want to be. So we've kind of gotten used to it. We see each other a few times a year. We talk on the phone regularly. Obviously, more it's easier to talk when you have a more consistent schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all still up in the Connecticut.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I really like how you can be able to adapt to that so fastly, because I know that if I was away from my parents for that long, I would be calling them like every hour of the day.
It was started out like that, and then you know,
but then you start
normal.
getting used to it. But I think that's really cool. I think that's really, really important that you're able to make that adaptation, which is obviously really convenient.
Yeah.
But another thing is, I know that you also like to run marathons too. I want to know how do you do it? Like, you're a news reporter, you wake up at weird hours, but you can still manage to do a marathon. How do you do it?
Yeah, there's been times I've run marathons before work, going into work in the morning.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a goal setter. I'm a goal setter, and I think that I don't really, I'm not fully motivated unless I set goals, long-term and short-term goals. So for me, to go back to that, back in 2019, I ran a marathon and I felt absolutely horrible. My time was horrible. And instead of saying, I'm never doing this again, I said, I need to do this again as soon as possible. So before I even got on the flight, I registered for my next marathon, which was the next month. So it's been almost 4 years and I've done a marathon every month. Last year I did 2 marathons every month for the whole year. So I don't know, I believe in staying ready. So I don't have to go through the training process all over again because I can run a marathon. I just signed up for one on Sunday. So because my body's ready to do it. And I think that's with anything in life. If you stay ready, you could take an opportunity when it comes.
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of my mindset I live by. And until my body won't let me anymore, I'll probably continue to run and work out.
I think that's really, really cool. Like, honestly, props to you, because I know that I could not do that.
Also, too, I wanted to add to that. People often feel like they can't make the time. And you make the time for what you want to make time for. And you don't have to, running takes time. You have to run, it takes 4 hours to run a marathon. But if you have 10 minutes to work out in your day, you wake up 10 minutes earlier if you can't fit it in. So I believe that you make it work.
Yeah, you have more time in a day than you think.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of like more referencing to like you actually being out in the field. So I know that you deal with sometimes with very, very sad stories of multiple different people who, you know, lost a loved one and stuff like that. So do you think that being out in the field and being able to talk to those people has multiple different impacts on you, especially in like making decisions about, like, I don't know, for example, for an inference, like, trying to think of a good one. Does it make you have any like different thoughts or different opinions?
Like perspective.
Perspectives of it.
That's a great question. Yes is the short answer. When you're emotionally connected to people, especially when you're out in the field covering news and covering stories, you do get emotionally, I know for sure for me, I get extremely emotionally connected to people, and we're coming in sometimes in our business with cameras on the worst days of people's lives. And for someone to be so vulnerable to share their experience and their stories with you in order to better or to help someone else maybe in the future, that's a big deal. And I don't take that lightly. And there's been so many times where I've mothers who have lost their kids, and we've sat on their couch like this and we just cry, you know. And one mother, you know, was the first time she had kind of went in certain rooms since her son had died, and she was showing me certain things. So that's a big deal. That's a really big deal, letting people in to their lives. So I think that's my favorite part of the job, not necessarily the sad, but people and hearing perspective, as you were just saying. And yeah, it definitely puts my own life in perspective of things not to take for granted and to do. So I think also with viewers watching, they'll see their story and say, wow, you know, I'm not going to take something for granted too.
I think that's really cool because, like I said before, it's that you can really be able to sit down and like make it be genuine and meaningful because you know that it's a very, very hard time for them. But like you said, in the end, you get to be like, oh my goodness, I'm very grateful in the end, which I think that is very, very good. Yeah. But my final question for you today is, so what are you doing after this? That is going to be my final question. Are you going to the studio? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I think you're going to let me play with some guitars over there.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. You have the
That'll
best
be so much
studio
fun.
ever. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. And I love music, by the way.
Who's your favorite band?
Golly, it changes. I'm into like the old country music. Ooh. Isn't that? It's not as popular these days, but my grandfather got me into the old country. So I also love Casey Musgraves these days. Isn't she
Oh,
wonderful?
I love Casey
She's
Musgraves.
such a good vibe.
I
her
love
vibe.
Casey Musgraves.
Yeah, she's cool. Anyway, so yeah, I'll go to the studio. So we've been really busy with Hurricane Ian this week, and we're just seeing for the first time today a lot of the pictures of devastation from Florida come out. So we have my company, Hearst, has a lot of stations around the country, so we get a lot of things coming in from them. And we have a lot of local organizations, too, that are providing aid and things like that. So I think that'll be our focus today. But yeah, I'll go in the station.
That'll be really good.
We record radios for different radio stations, radio news, and then we'll record commercials and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a good time.
That'll be so much, that just seems like so much fun.
It's a good day. It's
Yeah,
always a
that
good
seems
day.
like a good day, but I really hope that you do get to go down to Florida and actually do get to like do a
Talk to
coverage
people.
on
Yeah.
Hurricane, what's the
Ian,
name?
yep.
Hurricane Ian, and be able to actually talk to those victims who have lost a home or floodage problems or anything like that. But
It's possible.
yeah, but those are all the questions I have for you
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you so much for coming in. This was an honor to talk to you.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, of course. Well, as for Oak Mountain Media, I'm Georgia Stock. If you wanna check out more of our content, please follow our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, all at Oak and TN Media. And if you want to check out more videos and interviews and music productions, check out our website, all at oakmtnmedia.com. Thank you so much.